At 90, these 7 things no longer matter to me. You'll wish you learned this sooner. You are burning yourself out over things that will not matter to you at the end of your life. That is not a guess. I spent almost 4 decades sitting at the bedsides of people in their final weeks, listening to what they actually talked about when they knew time was running out. And I can tell you with absolute confidence, most of what is eating you alive right now, most of what keeps you up at night, most of what you are sacrificing your peace for will simply dissolve. It will not go with you. It will not matter. The tragedy is that most people don't realize this until they are too old, too sick, or too close to the end to do much about it. They look back and think, why did I give so much of myself to that? I know what falls away. I have watched that moment happen to others thousands of times, and I have felt it myself. So I want to tell you now, while you still have time, to change where your energy goes. Number 1, I stopped needing to be right. For years, I treated being right like a responsibility. If I knew I was correct, I felt I had to prove it. I argued. I corrected people. I dug up facts, sent articles, revisited conversations days later because I had one more point. I told myself it was about truth. But in all my years with dying patients, not one person ever said, I wish I'd won more arguments. What they said sounded more like, I wish I had let it go instead of turning it into a war. I wish I hadn't gone years without talking to my sister over something small. Being right has a price. Your energy, your peace, sometimes your relationships. And what do you get in return? A few minutes of satisfaction and a little more distance from someone who used to be close. I'm not telling you truth is unimportant. I'm telling you most battles are not worth the cost. Let people be wrong sometimes. Let them keep their opinions. You don't have to fix every misunderstanding or correct every detail. You get your time and your peace back when you stop trying to win every debate. Number 2, I stopped trying to be understood by everyone. There was a season when I would explain myself endlessly. If someone misread my intentions, I would send long messages, clarify, apologize, reframe. If I heard that someone had a poor opinion of me, I would twist myself into knots trying to change their mind. It is exhausting, and it rarely works. Some people are determined to misunderstand you. Some people already decided who you are years ago, and nothing you say now will rewrite that story in their head. I once cared for a woman who used what little energy she had left to write to people who had misjudged her earlier. When I asked if she believed those letters would truly change anything, she paused and admitted, probably not. She put down her pen and spent her remaining days with her grandchildren instead. That was the right choice. Let people misread you. The ones who really know you do not need a PowerPoint presentation. The ones who want to misunderstand you will keep doing it no matter how carefully you explain. Number 3, I stopped obsessing over how my body looks. I am not talking about neglecting your health. I am talking about the time and mental energy we waste worrying whether we are attractive enough to other people. I lost count of the mornings I spent picking myself apart in the mirror. I said no to parties, to swimming, to pictures, because I was afraid of how I looked. Do you know what that buys you? Nothing. The people who truly love you are not keeping a scorecard of your perceived flaws. The strangers whose opinions you fear will forget you the second they look away. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through your life, not a project you have to perfect before you're allowed to enjoy that life. At the end, nobody said, "I'm glad I skipped all those beach days because I didn't like my thighs." What they said was, "I wish I'd gone in the water." Number 4, I stopped trying to keep up with everything. For years, I felt pressured to know every headline, every new app, every trend, every controversy. I believed staying informed about everything was some kind of moral duty. Somewhere along the line, I realized the world will keep shouting whether I listen or not. Most of what feels urgent today will be forgotten in a few months. The outrage of this week will give way to the outrage of next week. You are allowed to step off that treadmill. You can choose a few issues you truly care about and let the rest pass you by. You are allowed to say, "Don't have an opinion," and spend your attention on the life right in front of you instead of the noise coming out of a screen. Number 5, I stopped feeding old grudges. I carried some resentments for half a lifetime. I replayed conversations, planned speeches I never gave, imagined confrontations that never happened. While I was burning emotional energy on people who had hurt me long ago, they were living their lives, probably not thinking about me at all. In hospice, I saw families race to untangle decades of bitterness in the final days. Sometimes they managed to find forgiveness. Often, they ran out of time. I decided I didn't want to wait for a crisis. I chose to put some things down. Not because the hurt was no big deal, because carrying it was costing me more than it was costing anyone else. Forgiveness is not pretending it didn't hurt. It is refusing to let that hurt keep ruling your life. Number 6, I stopped letting my adult children's opinions run my life. I loved my children, listened when they were worried about me. I heard their fears about where I lived, how I spent my time, what I could or couldn't handle. But there comes a point where you realize you are still a whole person, even if your kids are grown and concerned. Their love doesn't make them automatically right about what's best for you. It is okay to hear them, appreciate their care, and still choose your own path. Number 7, I stopped worshiping productivity. I grew up believing my worth was tied to how useful I was. Retirement shook that belief. When I could no longer measure my days in tasks completed and problems solved, I had to learn a new way to exist, being worthy just by being here. That might be the hardest thing I ever learned. You are not a machine. You do not have to earn your right to rest. A good life is not one endless checklist. It includes slow mornings, unproductive evenings where nothing happens except you being alive with the people you love. We care too much, the wrong things, while the things that actually matter quietly wait for us. Ask yourself, what is draining you right now that will not matter when you are at the end of your story? You do not have to wait until your body is failing or a doctor gives you bad news to decide what truly deserves your heart.